All right. Yeah, it's got a kick.
All right.
So today we're tackling the first part of our van flooring.
So we'll be using two different sizes of poplar wood to do the furring strips. So we have one of them right here. And then this is 3/4 inches, and we're also using 3/4 inch Polyiso board.
Yep, so we'll do that in between the furring strips. They're equal in width, so we'll have a flat, even surface. And we're gonna glue them down with liquid nails, the furring strips, and then we're gonna use self-drilling screws to get them into the metal as well. So let's dig in and we'll show you each step. So our first step was to place our furring strips across the width of the van. Now we secure the furring strips with liquid nails. Put some liquid nails material on the wood and on the metal, and then flip it over and press it down. Now using self-drilling screws, we secure the wood to the metal of the van. It's important in this step to be careful of what's underneath the floor of your van. It's a great idea to make sure that you have someone with you who can go underneath the van and take a look at where you're drilling, and be sure that you're not going to be hitting any sort of obstructions or surfaces that are underneath the van. It's also helpful to go ahead and mark where to avoid drilling. If there's an area that you know you don't want to drill into, go ahead and mark those so that you don't run into any issues. Next, you're going to want to start putting down your cross-beam furring strips, and you can utilize the same method of liquid nails and self-drilling screws. You'll start to form a nice grid layout across the floor of the van. You'll then want to start cutting your Polyiso board into pieces and place these between the furring strips. Mr. was on hand to supervise the flooring procedures. You'll see that this begins to form a nice level surface. The Polyiso is rigid foam, so it actually supports really well. Next, tape the areas where the Polyiso and the boards meet with Reflectix tape. This forms a vapor barrier. Take note that on the walls you see that we've marked where the furring strips are located. That way we can drill into them when we install the plywood flooring on top of this layer. Now we take the original floor and we utilize it as a template. We place it on top of our plywood boards and we trace the pattern. This is going to create 3 individual pieces of plywood board that will meet together in the van. We cut out the patterns with a jigsaw. Next, we mark where the plywood pieces meet, and this is where we're going to use a biscuit joiner to install wood biscuits to secure the pieces together. The biscuit joiner cuts a small indent into the plywood, and a wood biscuit insert can then be glued in. This ensures that when we join the 2 pieces of plywood together, that the load is evenly distributed across the pieces. Next, put wood glue on the biscuit and place it into the indent. Now once you've indented each side with the biscuit joiner and installed a biscuit into one piece, slide the pieces together and that will form a uniform floor. We had a bit of a gap in the front and we decided to add more flooring in the same manner. So we cut Polyiso board to fit around the seats and added plywood on top. This way, when we do the front section of our van in wood vinyl flooring, that vinyl flooring can extend all the way to where the seats meet. In the rear garage area, we elected to use black diamond style vinyl. And so what we did is we cut the vinyl again using the original flooring as a template. We decided to add a few extra inches to allow us to make up any gap from the floor to the wall. We can cut that away after install. To install, we used Robert's vinyl adhesive and a vinyl stamper. We brushed adhesive on one full side and then rolled out the vinyl. Once you're done with the adhesive, use the trowel to stamp down the ridges. Once that's done, the vinyl looks great. Lastly, we finished the edge at the rear of the van with a trim edge that we drilled through the vinyl into the wood furring strip.